Hi, and welcome to the Happiest Hour. I'm Paula, and I'm super excited about today's guest. Wendy is someone I have known most of my life. Her older sister is one of my oldest friends, and Wendy, you were like the cool little sister. You were not the annoying little sister. You were way cooler than we were. So you were always around. You went to all the parties with us, and I've always loved you. And honestly, we have not spoken or seen each other in years.
Yeah.
So when I heard that, when your sister told me that you were sober, I was like, I've got to talk to Wendy. And I'm looking forward to hearing your story, what's been going on with you the last few years. I'm sure that you're going to have some things that will resonate, hopefully, with someone or other women out there that are also struggling. So with that, we'll do a real time catch up. How are you, Wendy?
I am well, thank you. It's
Good to
been
see you, and
a
thank
long
you for
time.
coming on today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I was trying to think of the last time I saw you, and I think I was at your house, which was down here. I think you were having a barbecue because your sister was in town, and there were, drinks just like we always did. We were always having our drinks, and it was pretty normal, at the time. For me, it was always normal until it wasn't. But even normal seems, it was still excessive looking back.
Yes. Yeah. I,
So can you kind of take me back and tell me, so like, what's been going on with you?
well, I mean, I've always drank. God, I think I started drinking at 13 was my first drink. I got sick, but it didn't stop me, obviously. But it was just normal. I think it got bad probably in college.
Hmm.
And, people go to college, they party, and then they go and they do their work and they get careers. I didn't stop drinking. And, it was social drinking. As I got older, it got more, you just use it. It became a crutch for me.
Hmm.
Good times, bad times, it didn't matter. All emotions. it was,
Yeah.
it, Emotions made me drink, good ones and bad ones. I look back and I like to say it wasn't bad, but I'm kidding myself. It got bad. I wasn't super blackout drunk until I got older. I know what the turning point was for me was my divorce. I was in a
Mm.
very toxic relationship for 9 years and
Wow.
very unhappy. And I crossed the line where it wasn't social drinking anymore. I think that's when it just got really bad. It went from social drinking to just I started isolating. I started hiding it. That was, and I didn't even. I remember one time I found my son. I never thought about it at the time, but I literally like crawled downstairs so my ex wouldn't see me, and like crawled through the kitchen and grabbed my bottle and my drink and went back upstairs. And I didn't think I had a problem.
Mm.
like, you know, but things got really bad and people tell you all the, like, I remember my mom was like, just drink beer. That's what my mom would say. I started drinking liquor, started drinking bourbon, and guys at the liquor store loved me. They're like, oh, you have such good taste in bourbon. You know, it just, it got to a point where I crossed over that social drinking. And I feel like there's just no going back to that. For me, there's just no going back to social drinking. If you want to call it that, I think it got way worse than that down the road, but it got really bad in the divorce, separation, and then there was infidelity and it was toxic. And I was drinking around my son. Like, that's awful. I was driving, I wasn't like wasted, but still, it doesn't take much. It just was a lot of things. And then the breaking point was I got arrested. It takes two to tango. I won't say that it was all me. It takes two to tango, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life because it was an eye opener. It was like, thank God I didn't kill someone. I should have had a million DUIs. We all should have, we just didn't get caught. But it was, God telling me to start away, like, you got to get your life together. Like, look where you're at. You're in a cell. You're sleeping on a mat. You're drinking. It was just, I knew I didn't belong there. And even after that, my friend picked me up from jail and she's like, I'm taking you to treatment. I'm taking you to Hanley. And I did not want to go. I did not want to go. She's like, you're going to go home, shower, get dressed, and we're going, pack up. And I was just crying. And I went home and my house was empty bottles. It was just disgusting. And I was just like, what happened to me? How did I get here? And I went and I still wasn't sure. We had to do the steps. And the first step is admitting you have a problem. And that was really hard for me to do. I remember asking the therapist there, I'm like, do I have a problem though? Or is it just situational? That was my thing. It's just situational. Something just clicked. And I said, you know what? I'm going to listen to other people for once in my life. I'm going to take other people's advice because mine has gotten me arrested, in treatment. I'm just going to see what happens. I'm going to take everyone's advice and roll with it and see what happens. And I was completely open to every suggestion everyone gave me in treatment. And I did, trauma therapy. I did all the therapies. I did the step work, and hasn't done me wrong since. I've been listening to other people and not myself. I mean,
that's such a gift.
Yeah.
I mean, people go to jail, people get DUIs, and they still keep going. The fact that you got humble, dropped the ego, were willing to accept the situation and the severity of the situation, is incredible.
Yeah. And, my son was involved too. He saw me get arrested, which is awful.
Oof, yeah.
He still brings it up to this day, but I'm very honest with him, and I explained to him, he came and visited me at Hanley. Bless my mom. She was so good. And my best friend came and they took care of things while I was gone. I was there for 40. I was going to be for 30. And they're like, we think you should stay. And I'm like, done, I'll stay. I just listened to everyone. Everything everyone said, I said, okay. So I stayed for 42 days. I had to get back because I had to get back to my son.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a blessing in disguise. And I could have lost him. I could have lost my home, everything. And I kind of had to start from the bottom, I'm still unfortunately going through a divorce. It's just family court is awful. But I sold my house. That was supposed to be my forever home. I sold it. Couldn't have done it sober though. Everything I went through when I got out of treatment, I could not have handled if I was still drinking. Feelings aren't that bad. You think they're the worst thing in the world. I don't want to feel, I just want to numb everything. It's really not that bad because when you're numbing everything, you're numbing joy as well. You don't get to just pick one, feeling. You're numbing everything. And by the grace of God, I have gotten through everything. It's to me being sober, there's nothing I can't face. Everything I can take on anything because I'm sober. And what keeps me sober is just knowing that drinking will make everything better and it will never go away. Your problems don't go away. They just get worse. And that's like what I always tell myself. It's not worth it. It's just going to make everything worse. Like it always does. Makes everything worse. Yeah.
They say when you go to meetings, the best thing about getting sober is you get your feelings back. The worst thing about getting sober is you get your feelings back.
My therapist, she's like, feelings aren't facts. They're just feelings and they come and go. They're not forever. When you avoid them, they don't go away. When you head them, face them head on, they suck, but they go away and then you get another feeling,
and you can handle that. And putting your sobriety first, because I know for me, if my sobriety does not come first, I can't be all the things that I want to be. I can't be the best mom I want to be, the best sister, the best daughter, the best wife. So knowing and putting my sobriety first has always been forefront to anything else.
It's funny because I notice how much more present I am with my son. Like I took him to the beach the other day, and the old me I had a chair and I would have been sitting and drinking. And he would have been out by himself. I didn't sit in that chair once. I don't even know why I brought it. I was in the water with him the entire time looking for that. You're just so much more present in the moment. It's sad to think about how much I drank and how much I missed. I mean, even though I was there, I wasn't present for it.
No.
It breaks my heart, but I'm glad I finally did snap out of it, Fortunately, it took me getting arrested, but hey, could have been worse. There's always a lower bottom.
Kept going. Many people have been arrested and kept going. So
there's always that's what they always say. And everybody's bottom's different and it can always go lower. So I'm fortunate.
And the gratitude that it sounds like you have now for all of those things you went through.
Yes.
Because without gratitude, we won't stay sober.
No, it is the one thing, we try to talk about is in group is just being grateful every day for something, like, huh, even if it's just I woke up and I'm not hungover, that's amazing. Not having hangovers. So that is a plus. Getting up every day and being ready for the day and actually getting stuff done on that list you make, getting it all done, you know?
Like such a concept.
Who would have thought?
But even being present with the kids is such a big deal. And I'm working with someone now and she's going on vacation with her kids. And I'm like, every time I went on vacation, it was, when are we going to have drinks at the pool? Going to get drinks in between, thinking we're being present with our kids. Like you're so distracted and your mind is not fully present. You're just thinking about the next thing. And if you're not currently drinking, maybe you're nursing a hangover, like, and
Yeah.
you're stressed out and guilty and self-loathing. So I love that.
I remember going to dinner and, I wouldn't be thinking about what I was going to eat for dinner going out. I'd be thinking, I wonder what drinks they have, like, let me get the drink menu. I don't even need the regular one. I'll get that after. It's crazy. And,
Yeah.
they say if you work as hard at your sobriety as you did it when you were trying to get your next drink, you'll be fine because you don't realize it, but your whole life revolves around it. Your day is planned out by your drinks and when you're going to have them. It's literally, it's jail. You're tied to alcohol because everything revolves around it. Going out, even going to a baby shower. God, are they going to have drinks there? I hope so. Like something so simple. But at the time, it seems normal. You don't even think about it.
No.
Yeah.
It's the insanity of it all.
After treatment, though, I did do IOP. They suggested I do IOP. So I did IOP 5 days a week to 3 days a week to 1. So I did everything they asked. And it helped. Sometimes I don't know if people can do it without it. I don't know if I could have done it without all the help. You got to have help.
You do. You need help. You need community. You need tools. You need the support. I know when I was done, I walked into a meeting too, and I was like, I will do whatever you guys tell me because you all look really good and you all have what I want.
Yeah.
And looked just like me. Nobody there was, too down and out. It was a very normal group of women. And I was like, I will do whatever you say.
Yeah.
And that's the surrender.
It is. And that's exactly what I did. I was just like, things aren't working. It's not working my way. Let me listen to some other people and see if it works their way. And it did, it worked out great. I made some great friends in treatment I still talk to. So we have
that's
a great
great
thread.
Okay. So you have a pretty difficult, your field. You see things in your line of work that most people will never see. And I know that can be really challenging. What was that like when you were drinking? Was that kind of a coping mechanism when you saw difficult things?
It was just another excuse to drink. I feel like instead of, I'd come home from a bad shift and I'd be like, well, I deserve this at 10 in the morning, because I was up all night, whatever. It just gave me more excuses to drink. That's what I feel, honestly. Not really almost compartmentalize it and not deal with it and just think you're drinking it away, but you're not. It's still there. Yeah. And it's really high. It's prevalent in my field. I mean, drugs and alcohol are huge. But
stress levels high.
It is very stressful. But I mean, you just like, oh, it's another day, and you go home, and I'd be like, well, that was a rough shift. I'm going to drink. Instead of maybe going to therapy or talking about it, you just try to handle it yourself, and that doesn't work out very well at the end of the day. I feel like you start to get a lot of anger issues. I started getting angrier, very angry. I mean, I couldn't get away from it at work and I couldn't get away from it at home. My life was just spiraling out of control because I was miserable at home and I was miserable at work. And I just drank. That was my answer to everything, drink. To where, it became, oh, I'm just going to drink, on these days. And like everybody does. You reason with yourself. That alcoholic brain's like, oh, only on weekends or only after 5. It's, you just reason. You're like, yeah. Yeah, and then mine would be like, well, I didn't sleep all night. I'm going to have a couple drinks to relax me, and then I'll take a nap. Right, I went on all day. you know, nothing was solved whatsoever.
So now in your recovery, when you are having a tough day, how do you deal with that now?
I have a lot of tools in my toolbox.
Hmm.
I'm always a big on move a muscle, change a thought. That's huge.
Mm,
Yeah. That is
that's a
huge.
big one.
Yeah, that's huge for
Yeah.
me. No matter what I'm doing, I'll just stop and either like take my dog for a walk, go to the gym, go to a meeting, just
Hmm.
anything to change my thought process. In really rough days, I try to catch a meeting. And I can tell when I'm like, all right, I don't want to go to a meeting, but I feel like I need to. And that's when I go. That's when I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, you need to go.
Yeah. I get that sometimes too.
Yeah. And, my therapist is amazing. Probably the best therapist I've been in and out of therapy since I was in my 20s. And this one is probably the one that calls me out on all of my bullshit. Like
Wow.
she specializes in substance abuse. And, my other therapists were like, maybe you should stop drinking. I'm like, yeah, you just tell them what they want to hear. She calls me
Yeah.
out. She's just really, I met her in Vero Beach recovery, and I'm sticking with her afterwards because she is the best therapist I've ever had. She is amazing. And she helps a lot with work and going through my divorce, just getting it out, even in group, just talking about
Yeah.
it, talking about with friends. They say the phone is like the heaviest thing in the world when you need it. It's like
Mm,
that's the one thing that people read. They don't pick the phone up and ask for help. You got to ask for help. It
yeah.
sucks, but that to me is the keeping yourself accountable and asking for help because no one can do this alone. There's no way
Mhm.
unless you're in a bunker and you're cut off to life. This is like,
Away from all society, no life.
yeah,
Yeah.
you have to live and you need help and you need a community. You need people in your life that you can call when you are struggling. But yeah, the gym's really huge for me, and that since I've stopped drinking, I mean, I had to do my annual physical, and you are so far above your like age group in your physical shape just from not drinking and exercising. And I don't eat like super healthy, but it's amazing what not drinking alcohol does to your skin, everything. It's been great. I had some
That's
medical
amazing.
issues too before, after treatment, I started having medical issues and I got through it, no problem. Had I been drinking, I
Mhm.
probably wouldn't have gone to the doctor. I wouldn't have done, it's just self care. It's amazing.
It's incredible. I mean, you've always been so healthy and active. You were such an athlete growing up.
Yeah, but I mean, I was active, yes, but God, I remember I would skip with you guys for senior skip day and then have to make it back to softball practice, and I'd fall asleep in the outfield because I'd be drunk from the keg.
Okay, maybe you weren't as healthy as I thought you were.
No, I always loved to have.
Collective memories.
I know Shannon would be like, "What are you doing here? Go back to school," and I would just leave and go around the other way. It was fun though. Yeah, those are some
Marble lights in
days.
the backyard. The marble lights and the Bud lights. Sorry, Mom.
It was fun. I'm not going to say I didn't have fun, but it's just those fun
Yeah.
days never ended for me. I was still
Yeah.
trying to live that life in my
Hmm.
late 30s and 40s.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to be 46 this year. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
God, you look like you're 30 years old.
I love you. Yeah, I love you. To touch base on the first responder thing, my department's really huge with like EAP and substance abuse, and they're like back in the day that didn't even exist. And they're really, I mean, we can go to therapists all over for free. They're super, they are trying to make it more prevalent in the fire service because, I mean, we have the highest suicide rate, alcohol, drugs, substance abuse. So they are trying. And I will say, I'm very thankful for my job because I was able to go on leave for almost a year and take care of myself. And they helped through all of it. They got me in Hanley. I got to IOP. There's a woman, Ellen, who's like the coordinator of EAP, and I still talk to her. She still checks in on me, and I'm very thankful for my department and for what they have done for me. I mean, it's amazing. No other job could I do that with.
Well, maybe you can let me know some resources that people can look to. I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay.
Any kind of resources, if there's other women or men out there struggling right now with any kind of addiction, suicidal thoughts, that they can go there and find help. How do you feel sobriety has made you even better at your job today?
That's a good question. I will say I have more empathy. When we used to have overdoses and, drunks come on and be like, just stop drinking, And as I go home and chug, some whiskey, like, who am I? I have more empathy for those types of calls for sure. Whereas I used to get really annoyed by them. And it's just like, what's your problem? Just stop drinking. And now going down this road, I know how hard it is. And I'm not irritable as much. I'm not hungover. I'm sharp every day I walk in there. I have more empathy, patience. I have way more patience than I've ever had. And with our job, you need a lot of patience because we do get serious calls, but then there's the 100 in between that are complete BS. And, but in that person's mind, it's still the worst day of their life, even though we know it's not a true emergency. I remember things now. Whereas, my memory used to be so bad when I was drinking. I was like, oh, I'm just getting older. Another excuse, And I was like, no, your brain's fogged and you're killing brain cells. Literally,
Yeah.
And I'm more present at work. That's another thing, I used to like, oh, we got to train. Now I'm like, okay, I can do this. Let's go. I'm not hungover or tired or didn't sleep. I sleep great, by the way, which is another bonus of not drinking is sleep. I did not realize how bad.
The best.
Yeah. If I don't get 6 to 8 hours, that's rare. It's because I'm working and getting calls all night.
Yeah.
But sleep has just changed life as well. Solid, good sleep. Because when you're hungover, you pass out, not really sleeping. You're literally, your body's running a marathon while you lay there. Your heart's racing, you're dehydrated. You don't get good REM sleep. Now, it's the best. That's part of self-care, sleep. Someone told me they were putting alcohol as a carcinogen almost, like in that category, because it's just straight up poison for your body.
Yeah, it is.
Didn't bother me. It still won't bother anyone.
Well, you could have told me all the terrible things it was doing to me, and I was still was like, bottoms up.
Yeah.
Really, until we had consequences.
Yes.
That got us to finally look in the mirror and be honest.
And that's what they talk about in group is, if we could just drink and not have any consequences, life would be great. But that's just not the way it works. It's not.
Don't you think those consequences were such gifts?
It was the best thing that's ever happened to me. Hands down, if I don't know where I'd be. I may not have my kid, I don't know. So it sucked when it was happening. And it was funny because in the police notes, I read it. She's like, still can't take accountability for what I read it. That was so funny. I was like, wow, I couldn't even take accountability as I was being arrested. Like, because you just don't for anything. Yeah. But,
well, at least we can laugh about it now.
Yes, absolutely. It wasn't funny at the time, but I just thought that was so funny. She put that in her notes. Still can't take accountability. But
so what's changed really about how you see yourself today?
I love myself. I don't think I've ever loved myself truly, ever. I can definitely sit down now and say, wow, I really like the person I am. I love who I am today. Never would I say that when I was drinking. Years and years of just the shame and everything. You just hate yourself. You literally hate yourself.
And the way we speak to ourselves.
Oh my gosh. It's awful. And I truly can hands down say I love who I am today. I love me. And I was never able to say that when I was drinking. Never. I hated myself.
That's awesome,
Absolutely.
Wendy.
Yeah. that is one thing I'm proud of. Like everyone's like, oh, you got to love yourself. I'm like, whatever. Nobody loves themselves. Yeah, they
Yeah.
do. They actually
Yeah.
do. And I do. And it just, your whole outlook on life is different when you love yourself. You take care of yourself so much better.
Mhm.
Things aren't that bad. I will say one thing, dating sober is a whole nother, you see red flags a lot faster.
What is that like? I could imagine that would be.
I've met some guys that don't drink. I've been dating guys. Yeah. After this last one, I'm done with women. But they're not any better. They're not any better. But I've made some good friends and they're usually the ones that don't drink. You see the flags instantly now that because before you would just kind of drink and ignore it or not even hear it or catch things. Whereas now
Yeah.
my spidey senses go off instantly and my intuition kicks in like, I know you just heard what he said. And they just keep talking and you're like, flag, it's hard doing it sober.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your standards are much, much higher and you pick up on subtle things much quicker than you would have when you were drinking. Or you would just choose to ignore him or drink him like, oh, whatever. He's fun.
Right.
But try sitting with someone sober and trying to have a conversation. It's a whole different ballgame,
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Doesn't make it any easier. It probably makes it harder, but I wouldn't change it.
Well, it's hard, it's worth it.
Yeah, I wouldn't because now I'm not settling for crap that I was before, for lack of better words. I'm just not settling because I love myself and I know I deserve someone, good. So until I find that person, I'm not going to settle.
It's just wild to go back and think of like us growing up together and all the shit that we did. God, who would have thought we'd be here today? And from hearing your story, it's so powerful. And I'm sure that there are women out there that are really going to resonate with your story, your career, the line of work that you're in, and being a mom.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you sharing everything. So just would like to leave off on if you could tell someone who might be in that place or thinks this is too much, life is too intense, and it's too stressful, I need to keep drinking. What piece of advice would you give to someone?
My favorite, and I've already said it, nothing changes if nothing changes. Your life is never going to change if you don't make the steps to change it. It just, you have to put in the work. If you want something different, you have to do something different. That is my main, you have to change your mindset. You have to go out and do different things for different outcomes, or it's just going to be that hamster wheel from hell. Chaos, straight up chaos. So nothing ever changes if nothing changes.
I have a big poster in my office when you walk in. It says, nothing changes, nothing changes. And that is the bottom line.
Yeah. And if you want to change, you got to change your mindset, everything. It's not easy, but it's so worth it. It is worth it.
It's so worth it.
Yeah. Life isn't great every day. I'm not saying being sober is like, oh, the holy grail, but it is a lot better than drinking.
It's better than it was.
Yeah. Even the bad days are still better than the good drinking days,
Yeah.
So that would be my advice.
Happy we got to catch up today. And well,
it's all good. I was excited. Anytime. It was fun.
Yeah.
I loved it because you always hope you can help someone. You help, someone that's going through it. That's like the one thing alcoholics are really good at is helping people get through it. Because we've been there.
Yeah.
And that was another thing I did too. I listened to other people's mistakes when I was in treatment, so I didn't make their same mistakes. That was just all about being open,
Yeah. Well, thank you, Wendi. I really appreciate you coming on.
I'm so happy for you. I love that you're doing this. It's great to do something you love. Yeah. And to make a difference. That's awesome. All right.
Okay, Wendi. Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you.